Welcome back to Marquee Backstage. I'm your host, Julie Milam. This week's guest began his journey in Havana, Cuba before taking over the United States. He's an accomplished aerialist, acrobat, and sideshow performer. He's here to blow you away today with his gift of country music. This is Elias Gomez.
She took the night off, went on and on bound, all the rights I wronged. She said you won't change, boy, you hell-bent, you were born this way. And she left not thinking much. And did you know that this cowboy cries when I'm laying down at night? I wonder if I belonged the way that I loved you. While you go forgetting me.
Elias, welcome to Marquee Backstage.
Thank you.
Thank you for traveling to Bowling Green, Kentucky to be here with us today. It's been a long journey for you. Tell us where your story began.
Well, it began in Havana, Cuba, in 1996, May 27. I was born there, and I grew up in a very little small town next to Havana. It was in Havana, but there's like different cities, and it's called Havana Vieja, which just means like old Havana. I was actually, my house was right next to like what they call the Capitol building.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty similar to the building they have here. So, yeah, my whole family, since I was like very young, they all performed, and my mom was a circus performer back then.
Okay.
And she worked with a lot of churches and like kids that had problems and trouble and like hospitals and things like that. So I grew up seeing that my entire life and being around a lot of art and like music and things like that. And we also did a lot of things with people from other countries. So we had a lot of like culture, into our family. Okay. That helped me see different things even though I wasn't able to travel back then. But yeah, I mean, it's a long story, long family, generational, like artistry, and and all kinds of good things that we did. So,
which is wonderful and very rich in tradition, I can imagine.
Yeah.
How many siblings do you have?
I have two.
Okay.
I'm the middle child. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you close to your siblings?
Yeah, I am. My older brother, it's here now, and my youngest, he's Army.
Okay.
So he's right now stationed in Iraq. So.
Oh, well, thank you for his service.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that. What about your parents? Where are they?
They live in Cincinnati, Ohio right now.
Okay, so everybody's stateside now.
Yeah. So we were together over there.
So you were kind of born to be an entertainer if your mother was a performer. So how did she get into circus performing, and is that anything that you followed in her footsteps in, or anybody in the family?
Yes. So actually my grandpa on my mom's side, he was a very well-known sideshow performer, which is a different side of like circus performances. It's more like what they would call the freak show. Okay. So he would eat fire and like walk on glass and like break coconuts with his head and like all kinds of amazing like things that you would see in kind of TV shows and very unique things. And he was also like a juggler. So he did a lot of things in the circus. My mom got a lot of those things. She was mostly a clown. Okay. And she also performed in a lot of like actual plays, like TV plays and shows in Cuba, and big theaters and stuff like that. So she was also like an actor. So she performed quite a bit. But what's crazy is on my dad's side, my great grandpa, he was a tango singer. So he wrote a lot of really cool songs, and he played guitar and sang, which I actually didn't find out about that until I was like a little bit older, because that side of the family was kind of lost. But it made me feel really good, because then I got everything, a little bit from everything, from everybody in the family. And he was a great guitar player, and he was a great singer. And I got to hear him, one of his songs, when I was back in Cuba. I don't have anything from him now. And it just honestly just opened this like huge world for me because I saw that he sounded like we had similar voices. He just was older back then. We have a lot of art in our family, which it was a good thing and it was a bad thing also because I didn't know what to do. Okay. I had a lot to pick from. I had a lot of this talent that was in my family, a lot of things that I was influenced by, but I didn't know what I wanted. You know, I was good at a lot of things, so that made it very confusing in my childhood, and it took me all this time to kind of figure out what I really, really wanted to do and focus on. While she's finding love, did you know that the sky boy cries when I'm laying down at night? I wonder if I belong the way that I loved you, and while you go forgetting me, I cry. Did you know that the sky boy cries when I'm laying down at night? I wonder if I belonged the way that I loved you, and while you go forgetting me, and while you go forgetting me, I cry.
So did you perform as a child?
Yeah, we actually, since I was very, very young, I honestly couldn't tell you like how old exactly I was, but since I could walk, my mom would take us to the plaza, and we would perform for tips. So I started out working as like I was the clown with her, and we would just do a lot of like small little funny plays and like falling down and jumping and you know tumbling and doing all kinds of stuff because I also did gymnastics.
Okay.
And we just did that. So once I got older, I started getting into like still walking, and I was doing more crazy things with things that we would find around because we were also very poor. But it was one of the things that helped me get through my childhood because, you know, growing up in a country so poor, you had nothing. And that helped us a lot to like be able to bring some food to the table. And since I was very young, that was my focus, you know, like bringing something to my family.
Right.
So we perform like all the time. We perform all the time. I would get off school, changed up, and go to the plaza pretty much and just perform.
So you went to school as a regular child, and then you worked like an adult for the rest of the day, every day.
Yeah.
Did you come home and study after that?
So to be completely honest, I never really liked school. I was always ahead of my time it just felt like, you know, my friends, everybody around me, I just always told my mom, even when I was younger, I was like, they're so immature. They just want to do all these silly things and stuff. Because I had to grow up really fast.
Right.
And that was a good thing, but it was also a bad thing because I couldn't enjoy the things that they enjoy. And it had nothing to do with my parents, you know. It was just something that I kind of decided on my own. And I felt and I liked it. So school was never like my strongest thing, but I was also not doing bad in school. I was doing pretty okay because I would catch up really easy. So that was something that was on my side, but I feel like I could have done better. I could have enjoyed the side of school. But yeah.
Not with the environment that you were in, though. I can see where you'd be bored in school because you were around adults and you were doing adult work and engaging and entertaining adults all the time. So the majority of your life was really spent focused on really an older audience than it was with the children that really didn't think about anybody but themselves at that time.
Right.
And you were focused on family, and I admire that for sure.
Yeah.
So when did you decide that music was the talent that you felt that you needed to pursue as a career and leave the entertaining and the acting side?
So actually, I've been playing pretty much my whole life. I would say I got my first guitar when I was like about 11, 12 years old, and I have some pictures of that actually. And I was very excited because he was a friend of my dad that came to Cuba and gave him some money. And the money wasn't supposed to be for that. And my dad took me to the store and bought me my first guitar, which it was like, I wish I still had it. We couldn't bring it when we came to the United States. But I have pictures, and I still remember like how that made such a huge impact, because music was what gave me peace. Like, that's what I would do. That was my hobby inside my hobby. Like, that's what I did when I was done performing. I was tired, when I was just like exhausted from like trying to impress, you know, a crowd and try to fit in that kind of aspect. So having that just kind of helped me get through that. Music was always that. I just wish I would have found, you know, that sooner and made that decision sooner, because I probably would have been more successful or just feel better and, you know, and know my calling. But I had a huge influence in Cuba. It's like, especially in Havana, it's like a small like Nashville.
Okay.
So every single street has a bar and people are playing music, and it's actually amazing because there's different types of instruments, different types of like percussion and things like that. So I have a lot of that like tropical like sound in my head and my blood. So when I write now, I do a lot of things that are very jumpy, I guess, fun, and like things in the song that I know would like, you know, catch somebody's attention.
Right. Make a move.
Yeah, make the move, or even if it's like a sad song or whatever, it's still like something where people can relate and be like, wow, that's something different.
Right.
And it's all thanks to that.
Think you're going now? I thought that we had it all. You go and leave me lonely like every other Sunday, and he gets to be your only one. Honey, I'm just getting older, and I'm tired of running wild. Your love feels like any other, and even though you made me smile, hey girl, do you remember that cold and wild September when you say you leave it home behind? And I guess that's why I'm broken, 'cause I was kinda hoping that you would never change your mind. Honey, I'm just getting older, and you keep on running wild. Sometimes I really wonder if I could have done more to make you smile. Hey, pretty thing, where do you think you're going now? I thought that we had it all.
first encouraged you to perform on your own musically?
Yeah.
Was that something that you just got up one day and said, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go see if I can get a gig? Or did someone say, hey, grab that guitar and let's go perform? Was it on the street? Was it in a venue?
The first, I guess you could say, I was working 2 years ago. I like I was telling you, when I got here, I was doing circus too.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked with a lot of big companies performing. I was an acrobat and aerialist. So
Okay.
I did a lot of really cool shows, a lot of good things. I worked for Disney, for a while too. I did gigs for big companies, that I didn't necessarily work with them directly, but I did that. And inside of all those things, sometimes people will be like, hey, do you want to sing? Or do you want to do your show and then come up and sing? So I started doing that little by little, and it was, people that I didn't even know, whatever. And then when I was here in Cincinnati, I was working for like a huge Mexican food chain, like restaurants.
Right.
And I was doing just circus shows. I would, get up, change, do an area show, do like juggling. I would go and eat fire because I do the same
Wow.
stuff that my grandpa did. So I did all the crazy stuff, and people would be like, man, you're a one-man show.
Yeah,
Like, literally.
for sure.
Yeah, so I had all these things. I would pull in my whole cart, walk into the place, and people would just be eating and just, freaking out because, they wouldn't expect it. But one of those shows, one day, they had 3 other performers there doing different stuff.
Okay.
And they said, hey, if you want to work, you can, but we don't have, we don't have anybody to, any space for you to perform. So you would have to just do something else. And I was like, well, I have a guitar. I'll just stand outside if you want to pay me, and I'll just play music. And that was my first time just actually performing a full 3 hours, and people really liked it.
Right.
And then I felt more comfortable, and I started doing more often. And, that's how I started. And so far I've had just good feedback, Here and there I have somebody that's a little bit mean or whatever, but
Everybody has that.
yeah, but everybody needs that too.
Yes.
It makes you grow too, and then some things are just, people don't know how to say it, but they mean well. They just don't know how to say it, and it comes out wrong. But I'm grateful for those opinions and those, criticism as well.
Yes. I mean, it's
Yeah.
great to have people pay attention. They
Yeah.
don't have to pay attention at all. So their feedback does matter.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be hurtful, but it can be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So
Helps
what do you
grow.
think in your short life so far that has been the biggest challenge for you?
Just confidence, confidence in not thinking that what other people are doing, and it's definitely hard to be. The reality is, it's definitely harder in these times, especially, to try to be a country artist that it's a Spanish country artist, and it's a thing that's kind of rising at the moment a lot. There's a lot of other artists out there that are Latinos and Spanish influence culture, and they're doing country and they're doing their own mixes and things, and it's just bringing a lot together, creating this new, just kind of empowering this genre that's been going on for a long time, and that is also being influenced by a Spanish culture,
Right.
which is country music.
Right.
So yeah, that's has been the biggest thing. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
scary to put yourself out there and
Yeah.
to ask people to judge you.
Yeah.
And you want them to judge you well because you feel good about what you're doing and you
Yeah.
believe in your ability to entertain and connect
Yeah.
with people. But it's frightening, which is where the confidence challenge comes in. But I think everybody that puts themselves on a stage of any kind,
Yeah.
it takes confidence to go out there every single day. And I don't think the audience always understands what goes through your head when you're having to get yourself psyched up and ready to entertain.
Yeah.
And you're just hoping that it's well received.
It's the only way to explain it is you feel like a little kid that's trying to get approval from your parents, and you're trying to do your best, and you're just constantly, that's why a lot of artists struggle and have emotional problems, because they're really trying really hard to make you feel good, and people don't understand that. They work hard, and when nobody's watching, they're just there worrying and thinking and how can I be a better person? And you get to the point where you start valuing yourself based on that, and that's something that you shouldn't do, because you are a person and you're offering more than a lot of people are willing to offer out there. And so for anybody out there that needs to hear that, you're important, you're wanted, you're loved by somebody, and that's what matters.
Your mama was so right. I should've left you and just regret you before you stole my heart. You see the lady there with the big bright blues. It ain't what you think. She'll make you fall in love like she did with me when she said, play something nasty and boy. Little rascal, you're the devil. Your mama also right. I should've left you and just regret you before you stole my heart. Her name was Peggy Sue. She came from San Antonio. It ain't what you think. She likes her moonshine strong at the brink of life, but you better not catch her at night. Little rascal, you're the devil. Your mama also right. I should've left you and just regret you before you stole my heart. Little rascal, you're the devil. Your mama also right. I should've left you and just regret you before you broke my heart. You're the lady, you're the ooh, before you broke my heart. You're the lady, you're the lady, ooh, before you broke my heart. Little rascal.